Hey guys, Scott here. Today I want to talk about the whole method of avoiding any map that you want and whether or not it's actually an exploit or not. So I've been doing this for years, pretty much. I didn't really consider it an exploit, but we had a really interesting philosophical debate in chat, and I wanted to extend it to YouTube. So if you guys are unaware, you can disconnect before a match starts, and you won't receive a penalty. I think most people at least know some form of that, right? You know, if you see like a Haddonfield offering, you can just disconnect during loading screen before the game actually has started, and you're not going to get penalized for it. If you didn't know that, you're welcome. But there is a step further. It is if you disconnect before the camera starts rotating in the actual match, it's the same issue. The game technically hasn't started yet, so you're actually allowed to do that, and you still won't get a penalty. Which means you can pretty much ban whatever map you want. I've been using this as my own personal map ban system, and when I say I don't play Raccoon City Police Department, I mean it. I don't like even randomly get it. I don't think I've played that match legitimately in months, or that map, because it's a crime against nature. And I've been doing this for a while, and like I just did it casually, and someone was like, "Wait, how do you do that?" And I was like, "Well, when the match hasn't started yet, you're allowed to DC. That's there's just it's known that there's no penalty for that." And so, yeah, like I said, we got into an interesting philosophical debate about this. So it is accepted by behavior that before the match starts, you are allowed to leave the game without a disconnect penalty. That is something that's we all know is part of the game, and that's totally fine. Um, but this is almost like it becomes an abortion debate. When does the game become a game? When does the match actually start? And I think this is where the interesting gray area that I didn't really consider comes into that might bring this actually into exploit territory, but it depends how you look at it. And I wanted to have the discussion with you guys. So, when does the game actually become a game? Is it when the loading screen starts? Is it when you start up the game in general? Is it when you get control of your characters in the game? I think there are a lot of possible ways of looking at when a game actually starts. For example, if you were to sit down and play a game of chess with someone, does the game start when you are sitting down to play the match? Does the game start when you actually begin to move your first pieces? When does the game actually become a game? Because I think a game is something where the player has to have input, right? Anything before that is just instructions or setting up or any of that stuff. If you have no input on the actual match or the game that you're actually playing, it's not really a game yet. However, some people subscribe to the theory that once you end the loading screen of whatever game that you're playing, then it becomes the game has started. So even in that rotation of the camera, that's still technically part of the game. It's just like an intro cutscene to the game. Now, if you subscribe to that theory, then what I'm doing actually is an exploit because now I am disconnecting while the game, according to the developers, has actually started, and I'm not getting penalized for it. So I'm avoiding an intended penalty, and that would be an exploit. I've just never thought of it like that because to me, the game doesn't start until you have control of your characters. So it brought this really interesting, like way deeper debate than I thought would happen in a DBD stream. And there's a lot of interesting points on both sides. I'm of the mind that it is not really an exploit because the game hasn't started yet, but some people think that it is an exploit. And I'm more cautious about doing this because I never really thought about that side of it. I'm probably still going to do it on Raccoon City Police Department. To be fair, that's the only map I ever do it on. I will play every other map in the game. Haddonfield, Badham, Fractured Cowshed. I will play every other map of the game, but I just refuse to play Raccoon City Police Department. But yeah, what do you guys actually think about this? To me, it's super nice because it's basically that map ban system that I really have always wanted for this game. I pretty much have just self-implemented it just by doing this. So if there's a map you really hate, you don't have to play it ever, under any circumstance, even if you randomly get it. And I think that's honestly a wonderful thing. But it also has the potential for abuse too. Now that I think about it, so where do you guys stand on this? What do you actually think? Does the game start when you get control of your character? Does it start when the game begins loading? Do you think it's an exploit? Is it not an exploit? If it is an exploit, do you think it's a useful thing that should be in the game? Should it not be in the game? Is it too abusable? I think there's a lot of interesting talking points about this, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think. So I wanted to bring that up. I was making a separate video about the new hook on Bad Preschool being really stupid, which I probably will upload soon as well. But I thought this was a very interesting topic because of the, I guess, moral ambiguity and I guess game rule ambiguity of it. So yeah, that is it. I just want to hear what you guys think. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.